Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. I'm finally getting on. It took me 45 minutes just to do a thumbnail. My no app was working. When it's just one of those days, where you feel like you're going against the vortex. By the time I finally gave up, I was just going to put up anything for a thumbnail. Then it finally worked, but it was like a long time. And that's isn't that the way that it goes? You wait for something, you wait for something, you wait for something, you wait for something, and then you finally give up, and that's when it comes in, and you're like, I don't really even want it now. You know, Kind of like those karmic relationships that keep coming back, right? It's almost like the universe is always teaching us something. You know, for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Laura, and I love to do shadow healing readings. Why? Because I like to dive deep within the reading. I look at everything, not just what your person did do, what they're going to do. I like to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play those karmic themes to help you understand why your person does what they do, why you're attracting that person into your life, and how to shape shift the reality. If there's many different realities that play out at one time, why would you choose to live in a reality that keeps you stuck in a place of imbalance? Any lower emotional energy is imbalance, right? So angry, sad, depressed, whatever, we wouldn't choose that. So in order to, really heal, we have to see how we contribute to the imbalances, and then we have to actually transmute that negative energy. And that's when we embody a new consciousness. So that's why we look at everything, because it always leads back to giving you the power, that you have the power. You're the alchemist of your life. However, when we're dealing with a karmic, a lot of times we're like, I don't have any power, but you always have power. Okay, anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you know where to find it. It's in that description box below. Group shadow coaching, $7.99. You can't beat it. For the month, inner child healing, shadow healing, reparenting, all the healing modalities to help you heal, all on YouTube for $7.99 a month. You can't not beat it, because who wants to be consistent? Consistency is hard, but if you're healing in a group environment, then it's fun. If it's done with oracle cards, it's fun. It makes it easier because you have to do it anyway. All right. Underlining energy, fantasizing. That's the underlining energy. We're going to pull another one. And that's hostility. I feel like there's a lot of passion. This person has a lot of passion for you. But the thing is that you've been in a power struggle for a really long time. And over time, the energy becomes more and more and more and more like where you ruminate. So I feel like this person has been ruminating a while, and what they're fantasizing is not anything pleasant. I feel like they go back and forth from at one time of feeling like, what would it be like to be with you? And also like sexually, obviously. But, now the more time that goes by, their imagination is starting to think negatively. So I feel like this person has a lot of passion for you, but because it's a power struggle, that energy becomes toxic because this person is toxic. So that's the underlining energy. So we're going to see how it's playing out. How it is playing out. Let's pull from a few different decks. Tonight, we're going to start off with the triggers. So the thing is that this person would do things to deliberately get underneath your skin, and deliberately to just kind of sabotage the connection, and they would just never take accountability. Everything was always your fault. though that you misunderstood. No, you misunderstood, you didn't hear me right. Kind of leaving out things from their story so that they could manipulate, never 100% being honest. So all the blame was always onto you. And you just felt like you were treated like almost like a child, that this person would act as if, you didn't, again, understand, or you expected too much. There was always a sense of that this person would try to make you question what you thought and what you felt. And when you would question it, this person would actually accuse you of lashing out and then kind of talk, like, not yell at you, but kind of like talk down to you. So there was a lot of almost like this person acted a little bit like a parent, like an abusive parent is what I'm feeling, you know, and they were dishonest. So it goes back to the manipulation. Like you just felt like you're always lying, you're always deceiving me, and you don't really understand why. So let's look and see what kind of relationship from a spiritual perspective that this is, what this person really feels about you. Because, they wouldn't have, if they still have feelings. It's not like they don't have feelings. What it is that this person wouldn't be hostile. It's the wanting to control. That's the problem. So this person actually feels like time will bring you back together again, because they really feel like you're a soulmate. They've been trying to understand this connection because they have a lot of different feelings and emotions towards it. I feel like they've tried to walk away from this connection, and it's hard for them to stay positive all the time. So they know if they feel that way, that you probably feel the same way. So they're like, I'm trying to stay positive, but are you staying positive? But, this person doesn't really know whether or not you want to hear from them, whether or not you want to give up on them. There's a part of them that feels like they're like, please don't give up on me, and that they are trying to change. But I feel like this person doesn't communicate. So you may say, well, why does this person even want to come back into my life? Well, I feel like they've observed you from a distance. So even though you may say, when they have the opportunity to be in a connection with me, they're not really in that connection with me. It's like, yes, we have a connection, but it's a lot of games. It's a lot of childish behavior. It's a lot of this person being in a power struggle with me. But when you're not in a relationship with this person, what they do is they watch you. And because of you, they're starting to see like what's important in their life. And it's like, because I feel like this person tends to be a little bit of a rolling stone. So rolling stones are just people that don't ever like build any roots anywhere or with people. And so the thing is like, whether you know it or not, this person like looks up to you, the way that you interact in your life, how you carry yourself, how you are. So they're watching, and that's a good sign. Like spirit saying, is like, even though you're not seeing this person do anything, you have to clear the illusion of the 3D world. Like, don't take everything at face value, that there's a lot going on energetically and spiritually. Then you can see that this person is changing, and they're changing because they're becoming aware. The thing is, in order for this to work, they need for you to fight back and to be in a power struggle. You're not in a power struggle with this person anymore. They were in a power struggle. You were like, I'm not going to be in a power struggle. You disconnected. You put your energy towards your life because this person wasn't honest. You didn't really know what they wanted, telling you one thing, feeling something else. So you didn't want to stay in that connection. So once that happened, this person really, there was no expectation anymore. And this person is now watching you from afar. Now they feel comfortable to like find out about you. I've watched you on social media. Didn't I tell you that? And the internet is their way of staying close and finding out more about you. So even though they didn't take the time to really actually get to know you, like, because you spend time with someone to get to know them, this person thinks that they know you. It's like they watched you so much on social media that they started to fantasize more and more about you, and they could see themselves like being in a relationship now with you, but now they're hostile because, hey, they've been acting like an ass this whole time, being in a power struggle with you, and they're still part of this person that likes to be in control. And they also know that they fucked up this connection because, again, they blamed everything on you because you were like, well, they were toying with me the whole time. Well, I felt like they wanted to keep you stuck. They always knew who you were. They just were like, I don't really want that type of connection. They're praying that you'll come back after everything that's happened. They worry that you won't forgive them and allow them another chance. And that's why they're hostile. Like I said, they wouldn't have the anxiety. They're having anxiety because they know how they treated you. You know, it's like, but they didn't fix it. I feel like this person kept trying to like push it, thinking for whatever reason that eventually you were going to cave in, you know? And the thing is that this person projects a lot of their fears and their limitations onto you. So they really need to go and heal themselves. This relationship is confusing also to this person, you know. They want you to contact them. So if you're like, why haven't they contacted me then? It's like because they're still prideful. If anything, they want you to contact them. They say they may not respond, but they need to know that you have feelings for them. So the whole dynamic of the connection is this person always wanted to be reassured in the connection, and they could be a male, but they have a lot of feminine energy here where they want to be reassured, they want to be pampered, they want to be, and you didn't do any of that. And what it looks like is that they kept trying to do that to the point that they played so many games that they sabotaged the connection. Now they're like, I don't know whether you want to come back to me. And that means now I have to come to you. The whole point is that this person didn't want to be emotional, mature to begin with, to, you know, express themselves and be transparent. And now, in order to get back with you, or even for you to give them the time of day, they have to do what they didn't want to do. What, you know, that's what's also why this person's like, oh, can you reach out to me? That's how you know that they're not raising their vibration enough. They're still on a low energy because they care more about their pride. They care more about their ego and about how things look. And it doesn't mean that they don't have feelings, but they still kind of want things their way. You know, this person like is looking for a sign. Again, the serendipity, they're kind of thinking that they can come in at the right time, waiting for some perfect time. So I feel like this person is watching you on social media and they just feel like either it's when you leave a job, something's going to happen in your life. They're like strategizing a time to like come back. They're also like looking for that serendipity, and that serendipity because you have a spiritual connection. They want to know whether you still have that. So there's a part of this person that their wish is that you would, you know, give this connection a chance, that you would at least Try, even if you don't want to be with this person, at least be their friend. At least, again, like to start over. That's what this person, because they see that you're a really good person and that you're doing things. Like I said, there's a part of you that this person watches, the way that you live. And I feel like they just see you get good results, like almost like they know that you're better than them. And I hate to say that, because people aren't better, but this person's on a lower vibration and they haven't gotten good results within their relationships. Part of the reasons why they're so childish and they play games is like they're not emotionally intelligent. So there is a love here. There is like a desire, but it's almost like when they tap in, they almost feel like a brother or a sister, because almost like you would be like teaching them. you know it's like that they're not on a very high vibration, however they admire you and they have feelings for you. It's not like they don't. Just on an emotional intelligent level, that's what it would feel like. And so this person, yeah, this person is waiting. Something's going to happen in your life. You're either going to get some recognition, something's going to happen in your life. And this person is like, just knows that something's going to happen. I don't know how they know, but they are planning to like try and come back in around that time in your life. And it's possibly because things are changing in your life and they just like can't really hold themselves back after a certain amount of time. So they can actually feel you actually disconnecting from them. And it makes them feel very uncomfortable, which is why I feel like they come back. You have to say, like, why? And it's like, because of the connection. It's almost like this person, it's like they have tried to walk away. They have tried to not be in this, but it's like a circular reasoning. Everything goes back around and around and around and around. Like they never find the solution. There's a part of this person that feels such a strong connection that that's really why it overrides their logical analytical mind. They're going to come back and they're going to ask for a truce eventually, because they are uncomfortable. As I said, I know that it's like, however, what holds them back is like they know that they're going to have to hear it. You're going to say something to them. You're going to, be very direct. You're going to say something that's going to hurt their ego. They're like, if I come back to you, then it's like I have to be really transparent. You're going to have questions that you're going to confront me. You're going to like not hold back in what you say. You might tell me to go screw myself and never talk to me again. And that's this person's fear. They don't know whether you're going to be like that because of how they were. So they're stuck. It's a roundabout in their mind over and over and over again about what might happen, but they're also watching you on social media. You're growing, you're changing, things are happening in your life. And even if they're not, this person is imagining it. They're fantasizing that, hey, all different scenarios, and most of those scenarios are not good. Most of those scenarios are, hey, you're going to tell me that you're not interested. You're going to tell me again that your life, like you're leaving me behind, all these things. So they're very uncomfortable. So it's, again, they're going to come in, they're going to offer you a truth, even if it's just friendship. They're like, I'll settle for that. It's like, again, because there's a strong connection. Okay, that's what it keeps saying. It just keeps saying a strong connection, strong connection, strong connection, strong connection. So this person can't let it go. And they thought that they were going to be able to let it go. This person wouldn't have done all that. When they were dealing with you, they just didn't know who they were dealing with. And then it's like they kept watching you on social media And then they were like, I could have actually been in a relationship with this person. You know what I mean? So they were judging you the way that they judge the person. But again, here it is. It's like we see it right here. You know, the spiritual insight that there's really this strong connection. I mean, it's divinely favored. It's because the energy is like they've never felt anything before. And so, it's almost like this person just feels like it's just supposed to happen. Like it's literally almost like it's already has been written. Look at this predictive programming, almost like this person's known, it like has this internal knowing, and where that's what a spiritual connection is. It's like they try to walk away from it. Are they immature? Absolutely. They're still the same immature person, so it doesn't mean that you might want to be with them. You have to understand we have to hold ourselves to a certain standard, and you teach a person through how you treat yourself. So it doesn't mean that this person is healed in the aspect that they would know how to treat you. If it triggered you before the way that they treated you, they're not going to all of a sudden treat you better. You'd have to, if you wanted to be with this person, because they're coming back, even to be a friend, that would actually be the best place to start, because this person's immature. You need to teach them by how you're treating yourself, make it difficult, make them sweat a little bit. And that sounds mean, but you have to realize a person has a closed heart chakra. The only way that a person opens their heart is they have to give. And people don't want to give if they've gotten hurt and they don't trust themselves and they're afraid. It's like they don't know how. It's like they get stuck in stupid. But it's amazing when a person is running after you because they're afraid that they're going to lose you, that they're not worried about their commitment issues all of a sudden. Did you ever notice that? Because they're so busy trying to chase you and be with you, and they don't have those problems then when you're not making it easy for them. That's because the person is opening up their heart. It's like that, but you have to make a person do that when they have, they play these games. The immature energy is, trauma that creates a lot of trust issues. And like I said, this person has the power to be lazy. So you have to make them do it when they come back. And those are for you that are going to take this person back. For some of you that you don't take the person back, but even if you're going to make this person be a friend, they still don't know how to give. So they're coming back, there's a sense of lack. And again, that's mainly comes from how we feel about ourselves, where we're putting our time, our energy. So like I said, this person looks at you and they're looking up to you. So you might have thought that you were dealing with somebody that was on a high vibration because maybe they looked like they had a good job. But I feel like there was a lot of illusions that this person created because they're not strong within themselves, and that they had this connection, but they didn't take it seriously. And that's because the depth of who they were when you met them was not really that deep of a person. And they were like a lot in old habits, but they're changing. They want to change those habits. And that's never meeting someone that, inspired them enough to do that. And I know that you might be like, I don't really do anything. It's like the fact that your life is not full of drama, and that you're at peace with yourself, that you're content, and that you have friends, and that you do give to yourself. You're not beating yourself up. It's like you're going to get good results as long as you don't abandon yourself. This person tends to, abandon themselves with their childish behavior, again, because they feel inadequate. And that's what it comes down to. It's like inadequacy comes from the fact that you don't know who you are. When we know who we are, It doesn't mean that we even have to be strong in who we are, but we at least know who we are. We have more balance. This person, has bad habits because they don't like who they are. They, again, I don't have enough. It's that lack, that limitation. That's a mindset. But I also understand it's also because this person, where have they put their time? Just creating illusions, living a lie. It's all been like what it's all been like an optical illusion. So this person like creates that because they're not walking around saying they don't like who they are. They're gonna not go deep. They're gonna go deep because they're afraid. So what's happening now is, like I said, it's just too much time has gone by, and you're not playing. You're not playing, and that's what this person is seeing. So they're like, it's forcing them to look at their behavior. It's forcing them to look at you, but the whole time they've been watching you on social media. Like I said, they just drew an attachment because they were like, wow, I could have been in a relationship with this person. This person like is living their life, and they're interactive in their life. I can see good things are going to happen for you, and this person's also, you better believe, afraid that you're going to leave them behind, because they're watching you the whole time on social media, growing feelings for you, knowing how horrible they treated you while your life is, they can see something opening up. You better believe they're having anxiety, because they were like, no, you're gonna leave them behind, walk into a whole new life. And this person's realized they have feelings now. So they're like, I'll settle for anything, even friendship. So you're dealing with it like a different type of energy, but you still have to hold to the standard because this person still doesn't, they wouldn't know really how to treat you. And it's like, and not because they don't have feelings, but because I don't feel like this person's comfortable in their feelings, number one, and they need healing still. But you can teach a person and they can be inspired in how you live your life. And then understand they're also bringing something to the table, because all soulmates do that. But we have to look at your inner child wounds to actually see what is that, because it's got to be something within the healing. And then not just within the healing, because there was a power struggle. So you learn, they learn, but there's also like what they would be helping you with, because God knows it's not the relationship aspect of this connection, like, because they don't know what they're doing. So it's like, what are they offering? Well, when we look at your inner child wound card, the first card out is disassociated, and that means detached. So, you might have known something, but you never felt, like connected. And that could be to a parent. You didn't feel safe. There was trauma there. So you don't even remember all of it. But it has to do with being oppressed, someone pushing your energy down. So it could be it's something else. Oh, in the third grade, I went after, like, wanted to have this part in a play, and someone kept telling me that I wasn't going to be good enough, and they kept trying to make me be the backup person, when I didn't like that aspect. That could be as simple as something as that, or a parent that really is like, oh, do you think that you're going to dress like that? Oh, you really do? Okay, well, you're a faggot. There's something wrong with you. That's an example. Or another example is oh, who are you hanging out with? That person, there's something wrong with you because you're hanging out with that person. You know how parents, they mean well a lot of times, but when they are anxious or fearful because they perceive that we're not making the right choices based on their perceptions, well, then what winds up happening is that the inner child, which the first person that you're relying on is that parent. So if they're making you feel that way, You're building habits and behaviorisms that are built on that. And detachment because, hey, someone took your energy, someone pushed your energy. And this is like a really, like, I'm going to do it forcefully. The person has their foot on the kid's head. It's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep you down. So whatever it is, and to the point that it's traumatizing to you where you don't feel safe to be yourself, to be comfortable, so you became like a loner because why? What happens? Doesn't mean that you don't have friends, but you felt more comfortable being alone. You might accelerate in school and life and your job and those things when you're alone because people tend to, if that was your first, connection to a person, you were taught not to trust because, hey, that's what that parent taught you. I'm not okay to be myself. It's like I have to be careful who really sees the real me, like because I might be rejected. I don't feel safe, emotionally safe and definitely psychologically safe because of again the way that it's being done. It's like I'm gonna keep you down. I'm gonna do it verbally. So again, so that you believe the lies and the secrets, because that's really what it is. It's like if you're not allowed to express yourself, if you're not allowed to be you, because hey, you need to, follow our religion, follow our customs. You gotta, it's all about you know, uh, making the family look a certain way, very narcissistic energy. So again, it affects that second chakra, which is that water element. We can go with the flow of life when we're in the passion for life and we're not being suppressed or oppressed and pushed down. We're allowed to be ourselves. Then we can be the expression of love by being true to ourselves, and then we can again find it leads when you're true to yourself and you're living your truth. That means you're interacted with things that resonate with you. A path unfolds. You find your way. You feel comfortable with the people that come into your life because, hey, while you're on this path, you're being led by your gut, your intuition, and you're seeing the results. It's like no one's saying, hey, you're on the right path. You can see it is because the synchronicities are lining up for you. It's easy. It feels natural. We go with the flow of life when we're balanced, when we're in the passion for life. But if you felt inadequate, because clearly, hey, if you grew up in that environment, on some level, you're like, it's not really safe for me to just be me. And that could just be because I'm an emotional person and people take my emotions the wrong way. Or I'm the squeaky wheel. Things bother me. I like to again like things a certain way, and that bothers people. Whatever it is, Spirit says it's made you look at yourself as if there was something wrong when there was nothing wrong with you. What was wrong was that the environment was wrong, how they treated you was wrong, and then the perception of how you looked at yourself is wrong because I don't make broken things. I don't make junk. I don't make wrong things. There's a dust part of self and a deity part of self, and the dust part of self is allows you to be who you want to be that expression of again the person that you want to be by becoming that version of yourself. And then there's the deity part of self, which is the God part of self, the higher self that makes you supernatural, that allows you to realize that you're never alone, you're always supported. So if you grew up in an environment where you felt like you were supposed to always be alone, again, and accelerated as long as you were alone because other people tend to be the problem. And that's because, again, how you grew up, it affected your second chakra, which is how you perceive yourself, how safe you feel. Like, even though that is really a first chakra, how safe you feel, the first and second chakra really do work so close together. You can't go with the flow. You have no balance because, hey, you're not creating your life. The way that you would create your life would be if you weren't oppressed. So Spirit says, well, you were oppressed. You don't know all of who you are. You hadn't had the opportunity to invest as much as you wanted to because, hey, someone else was telling you what it needed to look like, what you needed to do. And so you live that way, but it's not going to feel comfortable to you. It's like, yeah, I can do it. I go off to work and and I'm accountant. Is that my claim to fame? No, it pays the bills, but then it's like, how are you with people? Well, I don't really, it's again, unless it's I'm dealing with their work, where really Spirit's saying, really, that's not who you are. That's more like you learn to deal with people from that perception of how you grew up. But really, that's not who you are. And when you're in the passion for life, you're able to give and receive of love. It opens up your heart in a safe space, not to give to a person that's going to be an avoidant. When you're an attachment style, it's like, so then this way, this person is able to, balance out their energy. See, a lot of times people say, I feel like I'm an avoidant, where really, if you attract a person that doesn't give to you and you feel like they're the runner, well, then they're the ones that are the avoidant, and you're reliving that attachment style, and that is, anxious. Like they're not going to be there for me, and Spirit says you need to be there for yourself. When you're there for yourself, it means that you're healing this chakra, second chakra, your individuality, who you perceive you are. You go with the flow of life when you're in the passion for life, and that's when you birth something, you create something, you become something. And that's how you see the real you, because you were suppressed, oppressed. So you're like, I wasn't really able to do that. So I had dreams and I had aspirations, but I didn't put my time there, didn't put my energy there. Instead, I do this for a living. Instead, I did this. But now I'm not 100% satisfied. The Spirit says, well, now it's time to do this. Put your energy in there, and then also to transmute that negative energy. It's not just heal that second chakra and connect to other people, because again, this is a trust thing. That second chakra is intimacy, it's trust, it's balance. We're able to go with the flow of life. We're not just a black and white type person. We're able to find the gray area as long as we have our emotional needs fed, and that's only going to be happening through giving yourself, because when you give it yourself, then the universe conspires to bring you everything that you need, because you don't really know how the path is going to unfold to your success, and it's because you're not in charge of how you get there. The universe says, I'm in charge of how you get there. So you have to, again, just imagine it, create it, become it. But what's missing is, again, the why you're here. You have to connect to people, and that's through that second chakra. And so in order to do that, it's time to let go of who you think you are. And again, who you thought you were is just who other people told you that you were, not really who you were. Because again, you were oppressed. So Spirit says you have to release the past. And the only way that you're going to be able to release the past is to step into a new life, and a new life that's better than the previous life. It's again, and that's only going to be through the passion for life. Your life and everyone's is different. So again, it's about releasing the limiting beliefs that no longer serve you. So again, that was part of the reason why this relationship came about. Obviously, they were in a place of, I really can't give anything, because at the time they didn't want to. But that made you feel the same way that you grew up, like oppressed, like not being not getting anything in return. And once you did it, well, then that's that's what I was saying. That's how this conversation started. I said, when you're finally getting over it, because hey, now limitless potential is happening, and you realize that the only limits are yourself, then what happens is things start happening for you, and that's when that person comes back, and now you're like, I don't really want you to come back now. And spirit says, yeah, that's why the runner becomes the chaser, because that's usually what happens. But the person has to, open up their heart. And that's what we were talking about in the beginning of the reading, that, hey, it's like, oh, now this person's going to fucking come back. I don't want them to come back. I don't want them now. Fuck them. I'm in a good life. And spirit says, oh, yeah, like you're going to be mad like that, because it's almost like, you did all that, and now you're coming back at this time, and I'm in a good place, and I don't really. And the spirit says, well, because you're actually going to be in a good place, you'll probably be open to being their friend. If you were in a shitty place, you wouldn't, because you're going to be like, well, I'm in such a high abundant thing, I can give you some breadcrumbs now. Ha ha ha, now I get to see myself in that place. And you know what? You wouldn't feel good about it, because that's not your style, but you would be in that place. And don't you kid yourself. That person would know exactly you in that place where they were, and that you're a much better person than they are, because you're not doing what they would have done to you. And that's what you know, because they're childish, they're immature, because again, they don't are comfortable with those strong feelings and emotions. They've never had them before. So you're like dealing with someone that, even if they're 50, you're like, what are you, in seventh grade? Get over yourself. Like, it's really irritating. Spirit says, yeah, kind of like a little brother or a little sister, really annoying. That's what it feels like. So Spirit says, so you better go into the unknown, because that's where you find yourself. That's where you open up your heart to the new, so you can see yourself for truly who you are today, know what you're worth. And so, you see where your growth is. So spirits will have a love affair with yourself. Call for exploration. This way you really know what you like, what you don't like, what your options are, what they aren't, so that whatever decision that you make, that you're strong in yourself. Because really, spirit saying the only thing that this person deserves is maybe friendship, and that's because out of the kindness of your heart, because you're like, well, I can do that for this person. But spirit says, because God knows emotionally they're not going to be able to give it to you. But understand, spirit says, I want no one to give it to you. You're like, you don't want me to have it at all. And spirit says, no, I want you to give it to yourself, because you don't need anyone to. And when you don't need anyone to, you demand respect. And what you're saying is, I know my worth. I don't need you. If you're in my life, I want you. And if, you don't treat me right, you'll be replaced, because I'm emotionally fulfilled in my life. I demand the respect. And spirit says, you aren't respecting yourself, because you were too nice, too giving. It's giving this person second chance, second doubting yourself. Where spirit says that wouldn't have happened if, again, these core beliefs weren't there. If there wasn't still a part of you that was still holding on to some aspect or pain from the past, that spirit says, no, now it's time to shine your light. Your desire to improve yourself transforms fear into strength, that you rise above your thoughts and your doubt, and you find faith in the goodness of the universe, that you love and you accept yourself as a soul, and you discover the light that dwells within inside of you. The spirit says, you don't know all of yourself if you were, again, oppressed, if you were smushed down, pushed down, like told that there was something wrong with you, whether that was done verbally, whether it was done physically. Either way, you don't know all your opportunities. Let that person sweat it a little bit after the way that they treated you. And you're not doing it meanly. What you're doing is you're saying, I don't know whether you're that person. Let me go out and see what else is out there. Believe me, this person's going to be sorry the whole time. Yeah, but it's their karma. It's like, and you won't be able to say, I want you in my life, which way or the other. I won't really ever know unless you do that for yourself. Because it'll also make this person step in to their divine energy. So otherwise they wouldn't be consistent. And that's what you know. All right, I'm going to leave that there. If you resonated, give the video a like, share. Don't forget to check out the description box for the Shadow Healing Coaching Program. You get shadow healing, you get inner child healing, shadow healing, reparenting, and all the healing modalities to help you heal the effects of trauma in a group setting. That's huge because most of the time we go through trauma by ourselves, and we're not really allowed to talk about it with anyone except for a therapist. A lot of times the therapist doesn't give enough feedback because they want you to work through the process, which I'm not belittling or saying that it's not, but there's a real need sometimes for people to be able to share, to be able to feel as if they're being heard, that they're healing in a safe environment that's kind of giving back, like giving that support that clearly wasn't there when they went through trauma. And so it's very transformational. And for only $7.99, you get a lot. Also, people don't realize that always have to recondition your nervous system when you've gone through trauma. Being around a narcissist, swells the amygdala, creates a lot of stress on the nervous system. We become paranoid, the way that we begin to think. You have to recondition the body and mind. We can adapt to any environment, and we do. But when we get out of that environment, if we still have the same habits and behaviorisms that at one time helped us survive, that's what's going to sabotage us. So we have to heal the core belief. We have to integrate. We have to dive deep. So it's done in a group setting. It's done with oracle cards, and it's interactive. And it's just something that I created because it was something that I would have loved to have when I was going through what I went through. Instead, I went around telling everybody about what what that person did to me. And after a while I became that weird girl, I think, because it's like, oh no, I don't want to hear it. She's going to tell me about this person, and I don't know what to say or how to handle it, because it wasn't really a safe space. And so we grow up like learning not to talk, learning not to be able to express ourselves, and then recreating the same exact toxic experience. So if you found yourself in a karmic loop, you can actually break that karmic cycle just with shadow healing coaching. It's not a forever thing. Nothing's supposed to be forever, but it's fun, and you might want to stay in it forever, but you don't need it forever. You should be seeing the results as you're doing the work. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, be true to you. That's the key. Love yourself. I lost my remote control. I don't know where it is. I lost it. Oh, it's hidden underneath all the cards. All right. I will be back on tomorrow, guys. Have a great night. Bye-bye.